out the EMT class through some of my friends. Went to a ride along, took the class, and then I was kind of like, well, here I am.
Getting to meet people that you've helped previously and seeing them on the street, or they've come by the station to say hello and thank you. It's just a rewarding experience. I would do it all over.
Searching for an unforgettable summer for your child? At Old Nell's Farm, campers spend days riding horses, learning horsemanship, caring for animals, making new friends, and enjoying real farm adventures. From beginners to horse lovers, our small camps offer a fun, safe, hands-on experience they'll talk about all year. Old Nell's Farm, DeVille, Louisiana. Call 318-794-9533 to register. Spots are limited.
Hi, this is Pastor Roger L. Green Sr., pastor of the Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. We're welcoming you to our worship services on Sunday morning. Sunday school begin at 8 a.m. Worship services begin at 9 a.m. Come and grow with us, a place of faith, family, and fellowship. We would love to have you. Come see us Sunday morning. We'll see you there.
Hey, did you know Long's Products is a family-owned janitorial supply with mops, brooms, trash bags, and they even have food service disposables, carry-out plates, and to-goes? Check us out.
Good morning and welcome to Let's Talk here on UrbanCast. Today we're discussing a growing need for foster parents and the life-changing impact foster families can have on children throughout Central Louisiana. Joining us today or this morning is Canesha White, Area Supervisor, and Marcell, Elliott, Lead Recruiter with Methodist Foster Care. We'll talk about foster care in general, therapeutic foster care, and the need for local foster families and how community members can really get involved in these programs. Before we begin, we also want to remind everyone about the DJ Chark football camp and mental health fair coming up this Saturday morning, June 27, 2026, over at Alexandria Senior High, located at 800 Ola Street. Registration begins at 9 a.m. The camp and activities run from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The event will feature vendors, community resources, mental health fair, opportunities for families to connect and organize with organizations of service in our community. Methodist Foster Care will be one of these participating vendors, providing information about foster parenting and services available for local families. Also, remember, the Chark Foundation wanted everybody to register, but they also said just come. If you don't register, you can register the day of the event. So if you don't have anything to do, it's a morning-filled event for the entire family, not just the little boys, but the girls too can participate in the football. And while the kids are doing that, parents can take advantage of finding out about all of these different services here in Central Louisiana. Canesha, can you and Marcell tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you guys do to make Central Louisiana a much better place?
Good morning. Thank you for having us. So my name is Canesha White. I am the program supervisor here for Methodist Foster Care here in the Alexandria region. We cover the whole Central region of Louisiana. We provide services, therapeutic foster care homes for children who are in need of therapeutic foster care placements. Our foster parents are TBRI trained, so they can manage the behaviors or the diagnosis or whatever special needs that the children may have here with Methodist Foster Care.
Marcell?
Yes, good morning. My name is Marcell Elliott, and I serve as the lead recruiter for Methodist Foster Care. And it's a pleasure to be here this morning, and thank you very much. And so my role as lead recruiter, of course, is always to recruit families because we have such a dire need for families, and that's throughout the state because we do have 5 offices around the state. But here for this region, I'm always out in the community, bringing about awareness, connecting with people, networking, attending events. And through all of those venues, it gives me the opportunity to share just who Methodist Foster Care is, the great work that we're doing. We're one big family, and we're all about these children, and we love the children and the families. And so with that being said, for me, of course, it's a task, but I enjoy it so much because every time we get the opportunity to open a home, that means a child can have a better life.
And for those who may not be familiar with Methodist foster care, tell us a little bit how you guys integrate with Louisiana Department of Social Services and different things of that nature.
So basically, the Department of Children and Family Services, which is ECFS, they reach out to us daily for and they're sending information on the kids who is in need of therapeutic foster care placements. So meaning something about the kids qualify them to need TFC services, whether it's mental health challenges, physical challenges. It could just be that they have come from some very, very hard places, been through a lot of trauma. I always say it's because they need that extra tender loving care. They're needing somebody that more hands-on can be really supportive, understand that what their needs are, and just willing to kind of work with them to kind of help them overcome the challenges that they have been through within their lives. But so daily, DCFS is in the intake package for asking if we have any foster parents who have any availability that can accept the placement of the kids. And what I love about it is the kids are able to experience that normalcy. So if we have the availability, the kids can go into a normal environment in a loving foster home with some great foster parents and be able to experience normal day-to-day activities.
Now, when you say that concept of therapeutic foster care, how specifically does that differ from traditional foster care?
So our foster parents are all TBRI trained through our TBRI practitioners, and Ms. Marcell is one of them. So they're trained monthly. Every month, throughout the month, they are receiving some type of training on therapeutic services to better help them understand and be able to care for the kids.
Now, when you say that term therapeutic, give me an example of what of a child that's in normal foster care compared to a child that what specific service help me get into that right frame of mind of what we're talking about there.
You want to explain TBRI?
Sure. Well, TBRI is trust-based relational intervention. It's the model created by Dr. Karen Purvis and her cohort. And there are 3 principles in that model. It's connecting, it's empowering, and then it's correcting. And all of those things are very, very important because, as Mrs. White said, these children come from some hard places. And many times they have not had the positive connections that they need. And so by myself and my cohorts being facilitators, then we have the opportunity to provide them with that training and just letting them know that it's so important that we have to do the connecting piece. It's just like any relationship. It starts with the connection. And then, of course, once the foster parents receive the children, then begin to build that connection, then, of course, the next piece is to empower them. Our children come from hard places, so therefore they don't feel empowered. They might not feel that their self-esteem is high, and they have these challenges. And so by doing the connecting piece and connecting that with the empowering piece, that begins to give the children hope, because so many of our kids come to us hopeless. And we have seen it time and time again with the dynamic foster parents that we have and the staff that we have and the community getting involved. Then there are so many connections that are built because, I grew up in a village, And so that's one of the pieces of the TBRI model. It's not a single person. It takes the village. And then at the end of that, of course, is the correcting piece of it. Because, of course, children are children. They make mistakes and they do things. But once they have been trained on the connection piece, laying that foundation to build, then, of course, they become empowered. And so then when it's time to connect Johnny and say, okay, Johnny, you didn't make your bed, so maybe come and sit over here. I'm going to wash the dishes and I'm going to sit over here and just give you a minute to think about it. Well, the reaction could be very different for the child who has not connected or who has not been empowered, but that child who's built that connection and been empowered, it might take them a minute and they might resist, but eventually we've seen it time and time again, how the child will go forth and, complete the assignment that's been provided for them.
So in essence, this is the child that's been placed in foster care, and this child may have a behavior type of problem, and the families that you guys are tying them to are families that really know how to deal with a specific type of behavior. And if it's little Johnny just wanting to resist everything that you say, you might be able to say, I got a special family over here that can deal with that rebellious type, that rebellious behavior. Okay. So a little bit more specialized. So in essence, a child could have been put into regular, quote unquote, foster care, and through months of working with the foster parents and the child themselves, they could have been helping let the social worker know that this is a child that have these behaviors and I just don't have the skills to deal with it.
Yes. And we do get some situations like that as well sometimes. And I'm glad she mentioned the village, because another aspect that differs between us and the traditional DCFS foster homes are, we also have a team of staff, a team of awesome child placement workers who are also TBRI trained, who is a really big support for the kids. They go out to the homes every week supporting the children and supporting the foster families. So the kids are going to see their child placement worker, which is their CPW. They're going to see their CPW every week. The foster parent is going to talk to the CPW every week, or myself. So that's another difference. Honestly speaking, DCFS, they have a lot of caseloads. They have a lot of ground to cover. So us being able to go out weekly versus them not being able to go out weekly because realistically they just can't do it, we're able to provide that extra level of care, the extra level of support for the children and the families.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what are some of the biggest misconceptions that people have about foster care?
I think they just think they just can't do it, or they'll say, we're here, they bad, I don't want to be stuck with them,
Yes.
Things in that nature.
Yes.
Which, honestly speaking, they may have some challenges, but together as a team, we're trying to help them work through it. And then honestly speaking as well, if our level of care isn't the need for the child, we do everything we can communicating with the DCFS workers and letting them know, hey, the child does need a higher level of care. Mm-hmm. So, it may not work out for that specific child at that time. So we have kids that may go and receive a higher level of care at PRTFs and TGHs and things in that nature. And then that same child may end back up in our foster care program because they went out and received that higher level of care. Now they're ready to step back down into a foster home and experience that normalcy. And that's the goal, for them to be able to experience the normalcy in one of our homes.
Right. Just so that to get them to that point. And sometimes we just have to realize that I might have to take them to another place to get them the specialized training and thing, because they may not have been exposed to that at home. And because the ultimate situation is to put them in the most normal placement that acts just like a regular family, where they just doing the things that kids do. How great a need is it for foster families in in Central Louisiana? Because I imagine y'all are not just here in Alexandria. Y'all offices are here, but y'all probably service in a big area.
Right. Yeah, we do. We cover a big area. We have a huge need for foster parents. The amount of intake packets that I receive daily doesn't even come close to the amount of homes that we actually have. And all of our homes, they're maxed. We have kids being placed in all of our homes right now. So we desperately need more foster parents to just open up your hearts in your homes and give it a try.
Why is it why is it so important to attempt to find homes or placements in the communities that the children are from?
Because it's their normacy. It's what they know, it's what they're familiar with. And sometimes that's one of the biggest struggles. We may have a child that's being placed here in one of our homes here in the Central Louisiana region, but the child may originate from New Orleans, but nowhere in New Orleans had a placement for them, so they have to come here to the Central Louisiana region or Natchitoches or Leesville, Gina, one of the areas that we serve. And it's a shock to them because they don't know anybody. It's not a place or a face that they're familiar with. And that's one of the struggles that we do see. But with the support, with the love, with the passion, with our whole team working with that child together, they eventually able to get accustomed to the new environment that they're in, and they accept it, and they get to see the positives of it. But it's still a struggle. It really is, because, of course, if you've been uprooted from what you're familiar with, sent way across the state, it can be scary for a child.
Yes. Can only imagine. What are the basic requirements for becoming a foster parent?
That's a very good question. Thank you for asking.
I know that recruiter want to talk about that.
Yes, sir. Of course, there's an age requirement, 25 years of age, must have a GED or high school diploma. And of course, a minimum of 2 years of specialized experience in the human service field. Be able to pass a background check, physical exam, a TB test, have a valid driver's license, of course, a clean driving record, reliable transportation, and sufficient income. And then, of course, complete all of the necessary training that is required to become a therapeutic certified foster parent.
Okay. And what does training look like? And I'm pretty sure what does that training process look like to become certified? And then once you're certified, what additional training can families take part in?
Of course. Well, it all starts with an inquiry. Of course, someone inquires about becoming a foster parent. There's a questionnaire that's completed. Once they meet that criteria, then of course I visit the home, and there's an orientation. And just as Mrs. White so articulated, want to make sure that they understand who we are, what we're about, and then we want to get to know them. It's a good time to really start to develop and lay the foundation for that relationship. And at the end of the orientation, of course, the families, they say, yes, we're still willing to go forward. Then there's a process from there. I start collecting paperwork. I visit the home to complete a home inspection. And then there's, I call it a family booklet, where we'll spend time engaging and talking about their lives, their history. And then all of that information, of course, is compiled. And then with the training process, there are about 14 classes. And so most times I'm able to facilitate 2 training classes per setting. It takes about 2 months, somewhere between 2 months and 3 months for a family to certify. And of course, during that time, they will be providing me with information. I will be building a file. We'll continue the training process. And then once we get to the end of all of that, they've met all of the criteria, then of course, the binder is reviewed, and there's more than one set of eyes on that binder. And then from there, they become a certified family.
So it's a real thorough, rigorous process to go through that background check because and all of that kind of stuff. And that's done for a purpose because we're entrusting children into other people's homes, and we need to know that kind of information.
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
Yes, sir.
And you know, and after I be, you know, if I'm sitting here thinking after I become that foster parent, and little Johnny, little Susie doing something that's a little odd, do I have the ability to come and do I have to figure this out all by myself, or can I reach out and say, hey, Canesha, what would you do in this situation? Hey, Marcell, I need some help. Do I have that ability to, as a foster parent, do I have that ability to cry out and ask for some help?
Absolutely, absolutely. Honestly, before you probably reach out, the CPW will probably already be on it, or myself, because we're that close. Once that foster parent becomes certified, it's weekly. We talking all the time. But yes, so and we have our ladies, our CPWs. They're on call 24/7. They rotate an on-call schedule. So even if something happens in the middle of the night, you have the ability to call and reach somebody. My personal cell phone number, I answer it at all times because I want to know what's going on. I want to be able to support you. It could be something that we can handle over the phone. It could be one of the CPWs or myself coming out to assist you and trying to help get the child back regulated. And then we together work on what's the next need for the child, what's going on, trying to pinpoint what it could be. But yes, at all times you have the ability to reach out to somebody and you have some assistance and some support, some guidance.
And let me changing on to the impacts on the children and everything. What changes do you often see in children when they are placed into a stable environment?
It could honestly can be anything. It could be sometimes when the children, we could get them stable and then they may go to a home visit, or they may visit with some biological family. They may come back a little dysregulated because they're trying to process everything. They're trying to figure out still either why I can't go back with my biological family, or something may have triggered what has happened while I was with my biological family. So sometimes that could be a change. Also, when a child sometimes have been through so much, and then things does start to stabilize for them, and they start to experience that normalcy, it's a little scary for them because they never experienced it, so they don't really know what it is. So sometimes we see a change in that. Things are starting to go smoothly in their lives. It can be a little scary for them. So the changes can come with anything. But that's what I love about Methodist Foster Care and just the whole therapeutic aspect of it. We're willing to work with them. We're willing to try to help them communicate with us what needs to be met for them. Because sometimes they can't put it into words on what's really going on. They try their hardest sometimes to explain it, and they just can't get it out the way they want to. But, we don't give up on them. We just keep trying. Us, the foster parents, the child placement workers, the DCFS workers, we all work as a team and just try to do our best to kind of help them get through
it. And do you guys, it's one of the things I understand about foster care is that the objective is always to get the child back to his or her home as soon as safely you can. But sometimes that don't happen. So what do you see? Do you guys run into that with Methodist foster care as well, where you have a child that's been in long-term foster care?
Absolutely. We have some kids that end up being adopted by the foster parent. The foster parent will end up adopting them. We have kids that transition from TFC to extended foster care, meaning that they can stay until they're 21 years old, still receiving some support, some guidance, trying to help get their foundation set before they go off on their own. But yes, so we do often have some long-term placements.
Yeah, and you bring up a real good point about the because I remember maybe about 8 years ago, 10 years ago, when they changed the law, where when a child turned 18, they were just kind of like off on their own under the regular foster care system. So you're saying that, like if you have a kid that was in that home and that child transitions and say, hey, I'm going to go off to college or whatever, there are still some provisions for services beyond that 18th birthday. You're not just saying, little Johnny, you out here on your own. Right. Okay. All right. That's all. Now, is that something that's offered through you guys and not through regular DCFS, or is it a combination of both now?
It's a combination of both. It's voluntary. So if we have a child that is turning 18 or has turned 18 and wants to do extended foster care, and that child, that young adult now, and the foster parent that they was already placed with both agree to do the extended foster care, then everything will keep running like it was. But it's voluntary, so that child can also say, I want to do extended foster care, but I don't want to be in a foster home. And that's when they'll work with their DCFS worker, and their DCFS worker help them get set up with some type of living arrangement for the child to still be able to be a part of the extended foster care program.
Right. Well, I'm glad to see that has crept back into the program, because I remember at one time that was just a little cut and dry, and that was one of the when I was reading that was one of the most hurtful things that I could think, because I just can't see a child when you turn 18 and they may be grown legally, you know what I mean? But
right.
just think about us, how many of us thought we were grown legally, and at 19 was coming in here saying, hey, mama and daddy, can you do X and Y? And to see a child not have that ability to do it was just disheartening. I'm glad, I almost say it right now, I'm glad to see somebody woke up and got some sense. And y'all can quote me on that one as well. I really don't care. Not everybody can become a foster parent. How can people still support children in foster care? Maybe some people might just not even have time, but they, a lot of people see this as something that is happening, and they need to do it. They might be, job might be keeping them away, but they just want to help. What are some of the things they can do?
Spread the word, encourage, tell a friend to tell a friend,
and tell a friend and tell a friend.
Okay. All right. Is there kind of, are there any opportunities for folk to donate things, things like to Methodist Foster Care, and then y'all transition those gifts to the kids who might be in need of that particular thing?
Yes, we do. All that does go through a different department. But for an example, all of our kids' Christmas is mainly done by the different churches. The Methodist Church on Jackson Street and all the other surrounding ones, they are amazing to us. They spearhead our Christmas program for the kids every year. They spearhead our foster parent appreciation luncheons and gifts and things. So yes, the churches help. The community is a big help for us. We do receive donations from quite a bit of different donors in the community to make a lot of great things happen for the children.
And how can like your churches and civic groups and local businesses become a part of the effort that's Methodist Foster Care?
Sometimes we just may be in need of a location to do some trainings. Ms. Marcell covers a large region sometime of getting families certified, and sometimes she just may need a somewhere to host a training or a meeting for the foster parents. So that's a great way to help out. Some other things to think about.
Just like you said earlier, all of the great support we have already and the things that people's donating. So just continuously, You know, kids always, they need things, and of course, they're always wanting things. And the community has been so gracious and kind to us. So just continue with, on that vein and with that effort.
Okay. And you guys are participating in the DJ Chark football camp this weekend. What do you guys hope people can take away from that camp? Outside, I know you guys want somebody to say, I've been considering becoming a foster parent, but what do you want the general public who walk by y'all's table, walk by y'all's setup to take away?
Some awareness of who we are. I think a lot of people don't really know about Methodist Foster Care. Of course, they know about DCFS, but they don't really know about Methodist Foster Care. So I think the awareness, being able to spread the word of who we are and what we do to try to help these families and kids, experience some normalcy.
And y'all's front end a lot of times is DCFS are reaching out to y'all, but can families reach out directly to you guys?
No, everything has to come through DCFS.
DCFS. But if somebody were to reach out to y'all and say, hey, I have this particular need or help or whatever, y'all do have the expertise to say, okay, this is what steps you need to.
Right, absolutely. And we do run across some situations like that sometimes because they just may not know. And we do our best to try to guide them and link them with whichever region of DCFS that they need to be linked with to try to help get everything situated and worked out for them.
Yeah. Well, that's truly, that's what's needed, for us to have that ability to see it and keep on moving. Before we get ready to close, did y'all have anything else that y'all needed to say that we didn't cover?
Just open up your hearts and your homes with some peace.
Yes, just to let everyone know, first, thank you for having us on. And the second thing is that we are a community provider and we love these children. We care about them. And of course, we're always willing to sit down and talk. And if you're not quite ready, sometimes that's okay. Sometimes you might need a minute, but we're here to do whatever we can to get you to that point to say, yes, I do want to open my heart and home to these children. And of course, we're always greatly appreciated. Thank you very much.
And we're located right here in Alexandria off Jackson Street on Parliament, right behind Walgreens. If you're familiar with Alexandria, even if you got any questions and want to come in and sit and chat, feel free.
Feel free to come in and sit and chat.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, I on behalf of our team over here at Urban Cast, Canesha and Marcell, we definitely want to say thank you guys for joining us today and for all of the work y'all are doing on behalf of the children and families in our communities. And once again, for everybody who's still with us out there, don't forget the DJ Chark football camp and mental health fair is this Saturday, June 27th over at Alexandria Senior High School. Registration starts at 9 a.m. The camp activities run from around 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And families can visit community resources, vendors, including Methodist Foster Care, who's with us this morning, but they're going to have quite a few other folk over there this weekend. Parents who attend who attend this event will have something to do. So the football camp, I want to be real clear about this. This football camp, this is the second year that they've added the health component to it, but they'll have lots of resources out there. They'll have free events for parents to, they'll be able to register for door prizes and all that kind of good stuff starting around noon. But it's going to be a wonderful event over at Ash. Do us a favor and do Methodist Foster Care a favor. Share this post. Make sure you let folk know. And if you guys want to become a foster parent, just give Canesha or Marcell a call over at Methodist Foster Care, and they'll tell you how to get it done. If y'all could just stand by, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream.
I heard about the ENT class through some of my friends. Went to a ride along, took the class, and then I was kind of like, well, here I am.
Getting to meet people that you've helped previously and seeing them on the street, or they've come by the station to say hello and thank you. It's just a rewarding experience. I would do it all over.
Searching for an unforgettable summer for your child? At Old Nell's Farm, campers spend days riding horses, learning horsemanship, caring for animals, making new friends, and enjoying real farm adventures. From beginners to horse lovers, our small camps offer a fun, safe, hands-on experience they'll talk about all year. Old Nell's Farm, DeVille, Louisiana. Call 318-794-9533 to register. Spots are limited.
Hi, this is Pastor Roger L. Green Sr., pastor of the Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. We're welcoming you to our worship services on Sunday morning. Sunday school begin at 8 a.m. Worship services begin at 9 a.m. Come and grow with us, a place of faith, family, and fellowship. We would love to have you. Come see us Sunday morning. We'll see you there.
Hey, did you know Long's Products is a family-owned janitorial supply with mops, brooms, trash bags, and they even have food service disposables, carry-out plates, and to-goes? Check us out.